Mr. Waythamoorthy, can you please explain on why you want to work with Barisan Nasional now? Despite that you have labelled them as racist and they're not doing things right for the Indians and the Hindus, why do you want to be in the cabinet with them?
I've been frequently asked this question: why are you talking to your enemy? Well, we thought Pakatan were our friends. We were talking to them for 5 years. And in the 5 years that they led their governments, they have not resolved the people's problem on a permanent, comprehensive and practical way. And since my return, I have been very consistent. I said, I've had enough of politicians. We want a permanent solution to the long-standing Indian problem, and that we will submit blueprints to both parties. You must understand, we are not a political party. We don't owe any loyalty to any political bloc. So we gave it to both sides. It was open, transparent, and they dragged us in a negotiation, so-called negotiation, for 6 months. We were duped to believe that that was a genuine negotiation. But what we learned is they dragged the negotiations right up to the end, only to play us out. But in the interim, the government also made the invitation for us to engage them. Of course, we didn't go immediately. We laid a condition that they should lift the ban on Indra. They lifted, and then they went silent. And then during the hunger strike, the Prime Minister extended his invitation. We had a discussion, and it was followed up by very serious negotiations by top government officers. Our issue is both human rights and economic. And during the discussions, they openly acknowledge that they have neglected the plight of the Indian community. They are willing to mend the wrongs, and they were willing to accommodate our Indra blueprint. Of course, they did not agree to 2 items in the blueprint, but we have 4. And we made sure that we do not get an empty promise. We made sure it was a binding agreement, and we made sure they signed it, and they signed it. Whereas in Pakatan, they refused to sign. They keep on saying, we have got no problems with your blueprint, we are in principle agreement with your blueprint, we think you shouldn't be asking this, we should be doing it. But when we say, hey, come here, let's sign a binding agreement, well, it's good that you say it openly, let's sign an agreement, but they refuse. So clearly they do not have an intention to resolve the plight of the Indian community.
Now that you are you're going to be sworn into the cabinet, you're going to sit in the cabinet very soon.
Not cabinet.
As a deputy minister. And will you be the same person who fight against racists, fight for the voiceless, or do you have some boundaries to take care? Do you have a limitation when you are in the position?
No one can limit me. I'm the same person. I will always be the same person. There's no limitation to what I can do. I can do many more things that people think, or I can do many more things that people can't imagine.
Let's talk about Indra. When in the early stage, when Indra was the hype, and everybody knows Indra, like all the Indians call themselves as Indra. At that time, I don't see an organization, that I don't see Indra as an organization that this is the Indra management, this is the Indra leaders. Although they have leaders, but they don't. It's not under one roof that time, and everybody claims that they are Indra. Everybody think they are volunteers of Indra, freedom fighters and all. And today, how come there is there are a lot of allegations saying that I have sacked this person is no longer with Indra, and this person has already been in this political party, and all we see is a messy Indra. What is your comment on that?
You see it as a messy Indra because that's the perception that people want you to see. Now, many who don't understand the origin and the true struggle of Indra. All that they know of Indra was the main Indra rally in 2007, but they fail to realize that Indra was started as a small movement in December 2005 by just a number of individuals and organizations, and then all the organizations dumped us within 2 weeks. In early 2006, in January 2006, there were just 3 of us left in Hindraf. So I, together with 2 others, developed Hindraf from 2006, and then around April 2006, my brother joined me as a legal advisor. Together we worked on various issues. It was good to have 2 lawyers, and then eventually Manoharan and Gangadharan joined in as a team to help us take up legal issues, take up legal challenges in courts. So Manoharan and Ganga were involved in legal challenges in court, whereas I and Uday Kumar were doing the grassroots work. And then we developed throughout 2006, 2007, I filed a class action against the UK government. That caught the imagination of the grassroots Indians. So that's when they came out in large numbers. People actually forgot why they came to the streets in 2007. They came to the streets to support my class action against the UK government for neglecting the rights of the Malaysian Indians at the time of independence, at the time of granting independence. That's why the people came. The civil suit caught the imagination of the people. They came in support. And that support turned into a protest. It was not intended, but it turned into a protest after the government came hard on us. And then things, one led to another. There were arrests under ISA, hundreds of our volunteers were arrested. And people kept asking that they wanted to join Hindraf. And I've always maintained that so long as you are in agreement of Hindraf struggle, you are a member. Hence, every other Malaysian Indian claims they are Hindraf, which is not wrong. And it was beyond politics. 90% of those who came to the streets that day were ordinary people who are not bound to any political parties. But after that, things began to change after the release of the ISA detainees. What people forgot was, during that 2.5 years of their incarceration, I was forced to be in exile by the government. Despite being in exile, I worked hard for the release of these people. I led various campaigns both internationally and from my base in London to seek for their release, and they were released. Not only that, though Hindraf is not a political party, I led a movement to bring about change in the political lives of this country, in the political landscape of this country. And so in the last election, in 2008, I personally urged the Indian community to vote against the government, which they did. And hence, opposition won big. There was no Pakatan then. Out of that victory, they formed Pakatan. And today they are denying our role in 2008. Well, it's okay. The fact is, they have created a perception that Hindraf is supposed to be linked to them. They are wrong, because our task is to give human rights to the people. And after the release of the ISA detainees, each one of them found their ways to various parties. Uday Kumar formed Human Rights Party because he felt he needed a platform, a political platform to bring about change. And I've always maintained that every individual should be given the right to either join a political party or to form his own political party. So he went on his own way to form the political party called the Human Rights Party Malaysia. The others went on their own ways to join political parties. So the perception of the people is that Hindraf is linked to the opposition. That's a perception. But in true terms, our task, our objective is to find a permanent, comprehensive and practical solution to the problems faced by the people. Way back in 2006, 2007, 8, and we have always been going. We have always, year in, year out, 2006 to the whole of 2006, right up to the massive rally 2007, we have presented hundreds of memorandums to the government in urging for a meeting with the government. Why? Because we wanted to solve the people's problem. And even after the ISA release, we were still sending memorandums to the government. Even Waythamoorthy himself attended a number of those memorandums, presentation of a memorandum ceremony, events, to seek for a meeting with the Prime Minister. So now the Prime Minister has agreed, the current Prime Minister has agreed to meet us. He met us, he said, he talked, he engaged his people, he appointed his people to enter into serious negotiations with us. He says he is sincere and serious about resolving the plight of the Indian community. In the discussions, we found that he was serious. And to get him committed in writing, a binding commitment in writing that he will implement those economic programs that will bring about change in the lives of 1.5 million underclass Indians is a great thing. So this has never happened in history, but they made it happen. It has never, I'm told that nowhere in the world that an NGO managed to get the government to commit to such vast change, to such change that will bring about and restore human rights in the lives of the people.
In 2007, during the ISA arrest, a lot of people alleging, claiming that you have run away to UK. What do you say?
They are wrong, because many people do not know that during the rally, even during the rally, I was behind bars. I was behind bars. I was arrested 3 days before the rally. KL town was cordoned. People were not allowed into KL town. And I refused bail voluntarily. I do not fear the prison. Had I feared the prison, I would have taken the bail. It was only 800 ringgit.